It's the Jaden Show. Happy Sunday, you lovely people. I'm going to be spending a little bit of time in Australia today with the amazing author, actress, singer, songwriter. Did I say actress? Did I say love? Did I say lovely lady? Did I say songwriter? Writer of musicals, author. I mean, she really does everything, and she's super, super cool. Her name is Wendy Waters, and you're going to meet her in just a moment. She's more famous at the moment for writing incredibly amazing best-selling books, but she was a singer, and I think we need to watch and listen to some of this lovely woman in action with songs that she has written herself. This is the first one on today's show. This is called Walk in My Footsteps. This is Wendy Waters.
In the beginning, there was nothing. Nothing but the Great Spirit. Caretakers of this earth, man and woman. there was nothing. Nothing but a vast empty void. The only thing that existed was the great spirit of all life, and for some time remained like this. And then, in the mind of the spirit, the dreaming began. And now, tired from the dreaming, the great spirit went into the earth to rest, as we all do when we die. And that is why the earth is sacred, and man and woman are left to be its caretakers.
Well, my regulars, you know what time it is now, but for those who are new to the Jaden Show, I assume will come back time and time again and look at the back catalogue of the wonderful over 150 artists that have been on my show. It's now time for a Jaden Show commercial break. See you in a minute. Hey guys, I wanted to take this opportunity to let you know about the Jaden Show commercial break starting now. This is amazing news because now every single week you have a couple of minutes to be able to advertise something you want to advertise. So if you have a business, if you have an event coming up, if you have a new album, art gallery or anything you want to particularly advertise on a show, this is your chance to do it. March and April 2024, the advertisements are free, so please let me know. Get in touch to me on Jaden Cornelious at AOL.com. It will be wonderful to hear from you. If you are a charity or a charitable organisation or a non-profit and you are advertising something with regards to that, then always your advertising is free. So let me know. You will need to send me between a 1 and 2 minute video around that time, if possible, something that you want to advertise, and I will fit it into this spot. Get on. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the time you've all been waiting for. It's the Jaden Show special guest. It's Wendy Waters. Wendy Waters, aka Wendy Ann Waters, how are you? Welcome to the Jaden Show, lovely lady.
Thank you so much. And you know, it's fabulous to be here. You got me out of bed and up and with a coffee, and you're worth it. And thank you.
See, it's not just the chat show. It's almost like providing a service, I feel.
Look, you are. You're providing an enormous service.
I don't know what it bloody is, but yeah, maybe. But I have to say, mate, 2025, and look how bloody healthy your kitchen looks.
My kitchen, my darling, has been dressed with plants so that you don't see the half-peeled vegetables, the defrosting fish, the saucepans. You might be able to see the saucepan just over my right shoulder, but
I can see, but it does look it looks very country
It's
garden
clean.
salad. It looks lovely.
It's got a clean lid on it.
I almost feel like I want to take a health kick now just by seeing your backdrop, quite frankly.
It's very carefully orchestrated.
I believe.
Trust me, it doesn't normally look like this.
Mine, I think, I've got a bag
either.
of pasta, 2 cloves of garlic, cat
Yeah.
food, and some coffee. I think that's what I've got on mine. Hence the green screen.
It's a green screen.
But listen, author,
Yeah.
writer of musicals, lyricist,
Yes.
singer,
Yes.
songwriter.
Astonishing. Yep.
I mean, any more to add to that list while we're talking about it?
I used to be an actress.
Okay.
Yeah, a long time ago. Started out as an actress. I've directed a couple of plays. I'm not very good, but I've done it. Not very good at all. But mainly, you said author, yeah. But look, mainly, there's only so much you can do in one lifetime. So mainly, I'm an author, musical theatre writer. I write book and lyrics for musical theatre.
It's amazing. I absolutely love what you're doing. It was really interesting to go back to watching your music videos. Obviously, we've just played Walk in My Footsteps, and we've got another one to play at the end of the show. But I was like, wow, the girl can sing, and she's writing her own music as well. Yeah,
look. My beautiful friend Lauren Lovejoy, shout out to her in London. I mean, I hate comparisons, to be honest, but I think you'd agree that she's definitely the new Amy Winehouse.
She's a good girl. She's
the voice. She's beautiful, the voice. I mean, she writes her own songs as well, which doesn't leave a lot of room for me. But having said that, she did one of my she did a show of my songs in London at the Pheasantry in oh gosh, what was 2017, 2019? I don't know. She'll know. It was fairly recent. 5 years
It's got to be 19 then, really, isn't it? When was COVID?
Let's make it 19. No, let's make it
pre or post COVID?
Yeah.
Was it pre or post COVID?
Oh, yeah, just pre. So to be 19.
19 then, yeah.
Yeah, 2019 at the Pheasantry. And, she just remade some of it. Do you know what I really love as a songwriter or as a person who can write songs? I love hearing other people's interpretation of my words, my work, my music, such as it is. I love it.
Yeah.
And you're not a bad singer yourself. You're actually pretty amazing. Do you write songs as well?
Yeah. My last album, which was before I moved to Mexico, so, oh my God, 10 years ago now, that was my third album, and I probably had written half of that. So, yeah.
Do you write music and lyrics?
Not the music.
And
lyrics and melody, but so my friend's a phenomenal musician back in London called Bonzo Butler, and I would go, okay, so what about this melody? I would sing something and he would play it, and I'd say, right, now play it properly. So it wasn't just like one finger, it was kind of like the chords.
Two hands
and a nose. He was very talented, his Bonzo. And I would kind of sit back and pretend I'm kind of listening on the radio to that song and where it would go to next. So I would sing the next line, he would play it, write it down, and that's kind of how we, he would add the bits in that he thought were shit of mine. And and we had some really lovely songs. Actually. We've got some really lovely. I've written loads of songs for years. I've written songs, but I don't play anything apart from the triangle, and there's only so much you can write with a triangle.
How good are you on the triangle?
Not even that great.
Probably not as good as me on the tambourine. Look,
you know what? Maybe I could. I would. If you'd asked me 3 years ago, I probably would have said no, not good on the tambourine. But now I've been playing tambourine in my shows because I get bored sometimes when there's not many people. So I tap the tambourine like it's a bongo drum, and now I get my groove on with a tambourine. So I would challenge you to a tambourine off.
Okay, to a tambourine play off. Well, I listened to you singing Frozen Let It Go the other day. And I did make a comment, actually, so you knew I was online watching. But that is my granddaughter's favourite song. So shout out to Lily. Lily, my granddaughter, let it go, let it go. And we sort of do it together. And these days I just leave the high bits to her. I go, and now you go on your own. She does the whole thing.
Really, she does a lot.
She's even got a sippy cup with Elsa on the side.
Oh, nice.
No, you did an amazing job. I was waiting for those high notes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I love a bit of Disney and a bit of musicals and stuff like that.
Well done, you. Well done.
I love the fact that my shows now are kind of, I can pretty much do what the hell I want. So, and I can sing Nessun Dorma, and I can sing Frozen, or I can sing Mariachi and Dua Lipa, like all in the same show. And it doesn't clash. It's like, this is, it's just something for everyone. I always sound like Jaden. I mean, I can play with my voice. Obviously, I'm not going to sing Nessun Dorma.
You've got a beautiful voice. I love your voice. Love the tone.
Thank you so much.
So just question for you then. So when you're doing something like Nessun Dorma, do you approach that as an opera singer or as
Nessun Dorma? Yes, of course.
I'm melting. Yeah. So what's your range? Range?
Baritone, but a little bit higher.
Into tenor.
So I'll say baritone.
Nudging tenor. So
and it's actually getting a little bit higher since Christmas, since having to sing lots of bloody Christmas songs like Mariah Carey. All I want for Christmas
is you.
I have that line. Yeah, I've done that.
And you, and you, and you.
So I'm stretching a little bit as I'm getting older, but no, it's cool.
Yeah, which is normally the reverse. It's normally the voice lowers and starts to shrink. You lose those.
I had a really great falsetto when I was younger. Like some of my early pop stuff that's on my YouTube. My voice was really high, and I used to do a lot of the female backing vocals in my tracks. So like there would be some girls doing some stuff, but then I would always do like a high female vocal. Yeah, and
you're doing the top.
Yeah,
the top harmony. Wow.
Yeah, really high. I mean, I couldn't have sung a song like that. I mean, it was mixed into the background. I mean, it was a good vocal, but it wasn't a lead vocal. But it's funny. Then I spent so much time over the last 15, 20 years singing classical and musical. So I'm like, this kind of voice, that all my top range is pretty much gone. Like I find it very difficult. But now I started doing more pop. And like Dua Lipa and Celine Dion and Mariah Carey and stuff like this. I'm starting to get a little bit more of a range again now, which is quite nice. So I'm like, it's not an interview about me.
Yeah, I do. But the more you use it, it's like a muscle.
Absolutely, completely. Absolutely,
it improves.
Yeah. I don't think my brain's going to stretch anymore now, but my voice, as long as something does, I'm all right. But, so how did it all start for you? I mean, so we're going back to Mini Waters, right? Running around in your living room.
Mini Waters, yeah.
Mini Waters, like
little Mini Waters.
Pickle Waters, right? So what was going around like in your family environment, in the place you were? What music was going on? How did you become the multifaceted, multi-talented person that you are today?
Thanks, darling. Well, a lot of it's just desire. And also, for me, music was always an escape from a world that, quite frankly, I couldn't process. So childhood was slightly challenging. Mum was my rock, still is. But my dad was very challenged. My dad was an alcoholic, Irish alcoholic, very, very troubled. I think both my brothers would agree with this, and they'll listen to this, and they would be nodding at this point and going, yeah. Dad's views were extremely what I would call patriarchal. It's the my way or the highway type. Dominance in the household, where at the top end is the father, who's he was a colonel in the army. That kind of says it all. So we're up at 5. Our school shoes had to be polished. Honestly, I know, and we're not at school till bloody 9:15, you know. So, and it's a 5-minute walk down the road. So we're up at 5, and my father's barking orders and being a total, look, can I swear?
Oh,
I think I already
absolutely.
I go bloody oath. So he was a dickhead. He was an absolute dickhead. So we are filling, my brothers and I are filling in from 5 in the morning till 9:15. Okay, so everyone's got a different go-to. Mine became music. I would listen on. Well, it was the radio back in those days. You know, in the age of the dinosaurs. It was the radio.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. Let's be kind. Closer to the 70s. And I would turn on the radio and I would listen to music, and it just. Honestly, Jaden, it took me into another world. It still does.
Yeah, me
it
too.
still does. So skipping. So that's how it started. And my love of words or lyrics, I suppose, was listening to masters like, for me, Joni Mitchell, Leonard Cohen, Jacques Brel. Not that he was on the radio, but I got access to Brel. Charles Aznavour. These are the people who, Leonard Cohen, of course, and everyone sings Hallelujah now, don't they? You'll cover that one.
I'll do it, actually.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I love it. I'd love to hear you do that. Yeah. I've heard Lauren do that, actually.
Okay.
Listen. But and lyrics that actually had something to say. So I'm not only being transported by the music, which takes you instantly for me anyway, into another world, an escape from the real world. But the lyrics then start to tell a story if they're good.
Yeah. It doesn't happen that often now when you have things like, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. And
give me a break.
It's like,
give me a break. I like melody and lyrics. And you're slow enough to actually absorb what someone is telling me. And I want someone to tell me a story. I like stories. I love stories, you know. And I particularly like to see how people navigate a world that is, let's be blunt, in trouble.
Yeah.
I like to see how other people navigate that. I know how I do it in my own books, nudge, and that's what we're doing as artists, aren't we? We're trying to create. Well, for me, and I'm sure for you too. We're trying to create pathways to not just escape a really grim reality on so many levels, but to a sort of divine connection that sits outside of religion, sits outside of dogma, a connection to a divinity that feels authentic. So I'm just going to rabbit on for a moment about that. The thing that religion rarely provides, in my opinion, is connection. What I think religion does provide is a kind of skeletal outline for good social behaviour.
Or excuses for bad social behaviour.
Or excuses for exceptionally bad social behaviour.
I will do my penance on Sunday. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I'll do it on Sunday, but for now, I'm going to sin all week. I'll confess.
Well, I've already been forgiven, quite frankly. I've already been forgiven in advance, so it doesn't matter what I do.
Yeah.
I feel like shit afterwards a little bit, then I've been absolved.
I don't feel too much like shit because God and I have an understanding.
Yeah.
I do penance. I tell him he's fabulous. 7 days a week I tell God how fabulous he is. And then he will automatically forgive me because I'm one of those special ones that blinds him to my behaviour. You know, like that child in the family that is so super good in front of mum and dad. And that's the same child that's tormenting the cat and annoying the dog next door, bullying the kids at school. You know the type.
Yeah. Oh, I so know that type, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We so know that type. That's the kid that mum and dad go, he's so good, or she's so good.
Yeah.
She's such a lovely child.
Well, my mum and dad were up to school every bloody week saying, why is my son's head down the toilet again? But he's such and talking about the bullies, but they do so well in their lessons, and they're so helpful.
Oh, don't they? Yeah.
Jaden must have provoked something. I look like Harry
Of course,
Potter.
it was your fault.
Like,
It had to be your fault. That's always that's the abuser's go-to, isn't it? You made me do this.
Absolutely.
You made me kill you, shove your head down the toilet. If you didn't do, and you can fill in the blank, because I tell you what, changes every week. The goalpost changes every week. So, yeah, back to that. Shades of that with my dad as well. Shades of the kind of, my brothers and I never knew what we were going to do wrong. What are we going to, have you got any idea what kind of mood he's in? What's he upset about this week? But, that's the character makeup of the alcoholic, but also not only alcoholic, but someone with chronically low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And that was my dad. And then they bully. So you as a child, you're a little weed. You're trying to grow.
And some. Yeah.
You're trying to grow. Yeah. There's the sun. There's the soil. Here's my roots. Here's my leaves. Okay, Dad, now don't get upset if I flower, because bloody hell, I'm determined to. But the funny thing is, by the time I hit, where you become comfortably able to kind of answer back and call out bullies, for me, that was about 18.
Okay.
And my dad did a complete flip. It was suddenly, I support you. I admire you. All the way, I'll support you. Anything you want to do. And then it became, by my 20s, it was, you can do anything. I thought, Jesus, this is a big turnaround from when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 16, really. It was suddenly I can do anything. But you know what? The funny thing, Jaden, is that then the pressure is on you. Oh, how do I put this politely? But to succeed where he couldn't.
Right.
Like Dad suddenly vicariously, he's gone now. He's passed away. But
living his life through
vicariously living through me,
Yeah.
And my brothers, vicariously. Yeah. So we are successful where he wasn't able to be. And the only reason he wasn't able to be is because he didn't have the confidence, because he's too bloody drunk nearly all the time.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have the confidence. He drunk because he didn't have the confidence, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Drinking, as we said with COVID, before we started recording it, saying COVID was just a big slush fund. Drinking the whole time. And a lot of addiction is to fill in time.
Of course. And voids and fears and everything is it's thank God. I say I'm Piscean, which means I have an addictive personality anyway, but thank God I always used music and arts in order to feed my anxieties and my my problems that I had, because I probably would have become into drugs or into alcohol. I don't drink, I don't do anything, but but I probably would have used that in order. Because I think, especially like when you're creative, like you said, you don't live in the normal world. You're in it, but not of it, and that is kind of that really throws you. You don't really, and I'm, also on many levels, I'm also very mildly on the autistic spectrum as well. So not easy to. Oh, really? So so my process of things and transitions and stuff like that was super, super difficult. I was just an annoying little shit to my parents. But to me, I was processing everything and all my shit at the same time, And it was only music that got me. But like your father, desperately shy, couldn't even go to the movies because I couldn't see Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta big on a screen. That would kill me. Absolutely kill me. Because too shy.
Kills most people. Most people.
So
tell me, as a male, you are not me. How do you? Because I've had to think about it because of my dad being such a machismo, macho sort of very dominating male. How do you process, or what's your take on the patriarchy? And certainly, let's just, in terms of today's world and the kinds of leaders that we are seeing orchestrating endless wars.
Oh, it's for me, it's very difficult because I don't. It's not even about the patriarchy. It's about humans with power. There are some really nasty ass women that are at the top as well.
Yep.
I think any human with power, and I mean, for me, I'm kind of like a bit conspiracy theory person anyway. So I believe a lot of the people that are the figureheads of the countries, the political groups, whatever, are just a figurehead. They're not actually pulling any of the strings. I believe the big pharma, the banking systems, the billionaire families are the ones actually running the whole show. And my God, if that could be,
I 100% agree with you. I think they're faceless and nameless for a very deliberate reason, that they do not want to be accountable. And as soon as you are accountable and you're named, and let's by extension shamed, you then have to modify your control. You at least have to please an audience. And I think these people are completely free at the moment to puppet the leaders that whose names and faces are out there, you know.
It's funny. I mean, I live in one of the poorest states in Mexico at the moment. And it's, you know, like you never see women out during the day because they're looking after kids and cooking. And it's all the men are in the fields doing the agricultural, the farming, the harvesting, and then they're in like the local. It's not even a bar; it's a shop that sells everything with tables outside, but they can also buy beers. But you wouldn't see the women. The women would be in like maybe a communal kitchen making tacos, or they'll be at home and stuff like that. And it's a very kind of man. Driven society here as well. It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting, really.
So do you feel that the men, even though they're slaving in the fields and probably getting paid a pittance, so do you feel that they are also clinging on to the ability, and again I reference my father, to dominate, to make the rules, just to feel that they've got some power, some personal.
Yes, of course, absolutely. It's kind of like, it reminds me here of like England in the 70s on some levels, you know, like, and I'm pretty sure, you know, I'm pretty sure you can just see the way animals are treated, and you know, and when you know the head of the household is like borracho, is drunk at the, you know, on a staggering down the street to the field, you know, on a Sunday afternoon, and you probably get
having paid penance in the morning.
Actually, they're all at church. Roman Catholic. But so it's kind of, you know, I think the whole patriarchy should be abolished. But you know, like I said, I've seen kind of opposite sex in leadership roles, and they have been complete arseholes as well. You know, like I kind of think that when we have to pigeonhole, I think good humans should be in charge. People that think of other people before themselves, people that want the best, that are trying to be their best versions of self. I think anyone, male or female, that wants to rule, that wants to control, that wants to dictate, is a very, very scary situation. You know, like
I think they're mentally unhinged, to be honest.
I think we all are, to be honest, as a race now. You know, I think COVID hasn't done anything. It hasn't helped us. I mean, we were living in fear beforehand. Now, even though we're over that that period, let's say politely, you know, we always know that there is a chance that our lives can be completely turned upside down in the space of 24 hours, and we lose all control. So we now know how vulnerable and how weak we are. You know, so I think we're living in fear even more than we did before. And I think that's made us more entitled, more
I wasn't expecting that.
More, I think it's all about me now rather than my neighbour. It's like survival of the fittest. It's almost like Hunger Games meets, I don't know, Lord of the Flies. Now we're completely running on fear. and I've got to make sure I'm all right, Jack. I think it's kind of like that now.
Right.
I see that on, I'm just not very good at anything which promotes. I'm not good at pronouns. I'm not good at loads of different genders. I'm not good at feminism. I'm not good at men thinking they're the best either. I'm just, I think while we constantly look at that which makes us different, we're completely ignoring that which makes us the same. We're very individual, very vulnerable, very raw, very basic community of humans that need to work together to create a better life, as opposed to bullshitting ourselves to believing that we're something that we're not, and we deserve everything.
Yeah, the divisions that you're talking about are quite deliberate and constructed divisions. And yeah, it's making sure that we don't cohese in a powerful and unified way to speak up to the kinds of injustices that are keeping us on a string or on a thread, or unable to to express ourselves and to develop an autonomous relationship. I was going to say to you too that about these people that are, and you've actually extended it socially to the entire demographic. So I'm going to go with that as well. But there is a mechanism in authentic divine connection, and music is such a perfect conduit for that kind of autonomy. Now, I say autonomy, and that would seem like ego, and that would seem like, it's all about me surviving, but it's not, because the mechanism in connection is to submit, is to release the boundaries of how you define yourself, to release the boundaries of ego. I don't like using ego because I think we need the ego to actually drive us to do things. But having said that, there is a mechanism of dissolving everything that would seem to be under our control, or that urge to control. And once we do submit to that, and I'm going to illustrate this with a bit of something that's really out there. Lauren knows all about this, so I'll talk about it in a minute. But once we submit, it means letting go of the safety net, letting go of the parameters of our cage and who we think we are, and connecting with something other, with something bigger, with something that has nothing that we understand. And music, and that's the divine or
Divine
God.
self.
And music is that, for me, is that conduit where I released all of my reality that I was living in as a child, and still today to an extent, although it's very hard to release the reality. Without commenting on it. But once you do submit and stop being yourself, if that makes sense, you grow into something much, much bigger. And
stop being your image of self, how you imagine you are, and allow yourself to be that you're meant to be. No, it's like even for this teacher, it's detachment, isn't it? It's all about detachment. Completely. I mean, and also teach it.
Submission. And it takes an enormous amount of confidence to actually release that control. And that's what the leaders today and the behind the scenes puppeteers can't do. No. They can't submit. They can't let go of this.
They don't have to for a start. They're already controlling everything. And they only want more, don't they?
Yeah, except themselves.
Yeah.
Except themselves. You look at the avaricious pile-on with people like Elon Musk, to name Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Koch brothers. Look at the pile-on of wealth. Look at the way they inure themselves with enormous wealth, just to feel that extent, that that unlimited sky that I'm talking about. They feel that an enormous bank account actually is growing, is them expanding, is them growing. It's not. It's actually caging them into the same old, same old. It's like looping the same conversation around in your brain every single day. What do I do today? Oh, I make more money. No, sweetie, try doing something different.
Yeah.
So, okay, to illustrate what I'm talking about, and Lauren knows all about this, but when my grandfather died, a week after he died, I saw him at the end of my bed. And that was the first time in my life that I had ever seen or intuited a ghost, if you like, a spirit. And it was a most extraordinary experience because I had to dissolve all my boundaries, if you will, because it was the first time I'd seen anything like that. And to accept that it's real, I actually pinched myself. It was about 2 a.m. in the morning, the old witching hour. It wasn't quite 12, but it was 2. So I sat up, I pinched myself. Yep, he was still there. I knew it was my grandfather. I don't know particularly why, but it was perhaps the energy. And then, you see the NDEs and this same conversation. They say it all the time that it is a telepathic communication. And I started to hear identifiable phrases and comments that I knew he would have said in life a week before, So I knew, well, okay, that's most definitely him. But here is the challenge. And I want to tell you this. He said to me, would you trust me to take you out of your body? Because I want to show you something. I want to show you something that's going to be important for you as a writer, as this, okay? And this. I said, yeah, absolutely. I've absolutely trusted and adored this man. This was my father. This was my real father, the one for cuddles and hugs and you're okay and you're going to be fine and I love you just the way you are. You know what I mean? So he was the one, the big, warm, cuddly, beautiful person. So without going into too much detail, I just lay back down and he actually pulled me out. Now, I don't know how this happened. I can't explain it in quantum physics or any kind of scientific term, except I could feel a hand, I suppose, pulling my astral hand out. Anyway, let's accept that what I'm saying is true, because the next part is applicable to the world today. So out we went, I with him, and without any thought of, oh my God, how do I get back into my body? I didn't even think about it, Jaden. I just thought, well, he'll sort it out. He took me to a place, who knows, constructed perhaps just for me. I don't know. A lot of the NDEs say that they make it so that you understand what you're looking at. And I particularly love Greek architecture, the temples. Have you been to the Acropolis?
I haven't, no, but I'd love to.
Oh, you must. It's got a massively beautiful energy. And so it was something along those lines with pillars and white pillars in a most pristine space. So who knows where we were. And it's not that important because he took me in, but before he took me in, he said, now, there's something I want you to do. I will take you in, but you must not add or subtract anything to what is going on. You must energetically support what you are about to see. And I said, okay, that's really difficult for me. He said, I know it is. I know, because you always go, oh, just try this or just do this. Or if you tweak that, no, don't. He said, don't.
Just accept it. Just accept it as is.
Yeah, and support somebody else's creative idea. Now, you see where I'm going with this, don't you? You see what he was trying to tell me. So I went into this, I can only describe it as a temple that was absolutely filled with beings, humans, angels, aliens, sprites, things I cannot even begin to describe, all in a spirit form. And all of them were intensely focused on this one entity's creation that looked to me like a new universe, if you will. I can't be sure what I was looking at, but it seemed to be like a holographic image that was sort of floating in this space, and this very beautiful white kind of person, I don't know, male or female, who knows, androgynous, I don't know. But this image was coming from his or her mind and floating in a holographic way. Now, the components of this image, to bring it to physical, I assume physical fruition, the components, and you'll love this, were being orchestrated by music, the most beautiful music I have ever heard.
Wow.
And the music was pulling physical particles, that's all I could, from my understanding, that's all I could interpret, into this image that was bringing it to physical life. And everybody every person being in that auditorium, and I can tell you there were thousands of people gathered. All we had to do was believe this guy's or girl's person's creation into being. We were adding our belief to this creation. So anyway, I couldn't last very long because I'm human and I desperately wanted to ask questions and, change a few things. So my grandfather took me out. Okay. And we were back in my room, and he said, now tell me what you got from that. You tell me, because I wanted you to see that. I said, what I got was that we all need on this earth, instead of competing like wretched horses in a race or dogs over a bone, sorry, apologies to your dogs, they're probably lovely and polite, or vultures over a carcass, well, on a good day, or vultures over a carcass, we should energetically support each other's creative
Absolutely.
projects, and we should believe them into being.
Absolutely.
We should believe in each other. And he said, good, that's exactly what I wanted you to see, that in this space where there's no money involved, where there's no power struggle involved, where there's no, wretched reward or payoff, people energetically support each other. We believe, even if we don't think, oh, I could do better than that, maybe, but we believe each other's creations into being.
Absolutely.
And the sooner, Jaden, that we start doing this on this planet, but it means letting go of your own boundaries, becoming a vehicle of service to other people.
Oh, absolutely.
To allowing them to be, to flower, to come to fruition. And I got the feeling when I walked out or floated out, whatever it was, that each of us will have this time one day in this space. Each of us will become a creator in this space if we aren't already. But to the practice run here on earth in the physical, and I think this is where we're really challenged, is learning how to allow other people to shine. Mm-hmm. And the absolute vital importance of each of us tuning in authentically to who we are, why we're here. We're not meant to be out in the fields harvesting wheat for other people, harvesting grain. We're not meant to be at home washing dishes and playing and being a servant. We're not meant to be absolutely subdued into a cog in a great big machine that is piling money into someone else's bank account. We are meant to be creative beings in whatever field. Absolutely. And if we energetically support each other, that is the function. That is functional. To me,
that's kind of why I started this show. Because
I
just wanted to celebrate people's success. I love celebrating success, whether it's mine or someone else's. I like celebrating and promoting and supporting people that, as it gets more and more difficult to shine your creative light on a day-to-day basis, that people are still following their spirit, following their dream, following their calling, following their muse, whatever, and still doing that. And that's why the show was started. It was like, I want to hear about, and because at the time, I think it was just about COVID time, so my little light was getting like put out a little bit, and I just wanted to hear other people's beautiful stories about how they're living their creativity, their passion, their authenticity, and that in itself kind of continues and always continues to give me something to celebrate, because I love hearing what people are doing, all ages, all walks of life, just doing their thing, and it also it gives me something. I get to celebrate other people's success, and it also just makes me think, I love this. Absolutely, it's wonderful that people are still doing this. I think we're coming around to it. I think we're doing it, I think there's a underground revolution.
I think the internet has opened up the world for us. That we can, if we choose, we can support other people.
Absolutely.
And if we choose, but another thing that I would say about that experience in the temple is that you do. We were talking before you started recording about the amount of product that is out there, and as an artist, I would say one thing, and it became fairly obvious in the temple, that do not take the stage until you are sure that what you are going to offer and seek support for is your absolutely best work. So do the hard yards before you take the stage. And I see so much mediocrity. I'm being an absolute bitch here, but I see so much people jumping in and publishing, performing, recording, etc., before they are ready, before their gift to the world is refined in their own time and at their leisure and in their own way. Before you've done the hard yards, make sure that gift you have to offer the world, that you want the world to believe in and enjoy, and perhaps find some freedom of expression in and inspiration. Make sure it is your absolutely best work.
I agree with that, but I also I think a little bit different in the sense that, because I remember, being discovered when I was, in my early 20s and singing and stuff like that. And I listen back to my stuff now and think, oh my God, that was so shit.
But Lauren said you were on The Voice or Britain's Got Talent.
I was on Britain's Got, but that was just the worst experience of my life. It was horrendous. I was a pop star when I was in my early 20s back in the 90s. And my writer.
So is this post Britain's Got Talent?
This is no, it's like them scouting for people that might have a bit of a backstory, that might cry, react, or kick off on stage. That's
okay.
I've never been into that kind. I've never even watched them, actually, to be fair. But I kind of think that there is a lot of mediocrity. There's a lot of people supporting fools. There's a lot of people giving time to not talent. But I also believe that sometimes that little bit of rock, because of exposure, because of comments from other people, because of practice, because of doing their little thing, can become little diamonds, even if they're pretty shit at the beginning.
For sure. It might be just the kickstart they need into confidence. Confidence to proceed. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think sometimes, even if people are doing things that are kind of like mediocre and actually sometimes really quite dreadful, I just kind of hope that through their experience of what they're doing, that they learn to hone their craft and define their, you know, their.
Well, we've seen that with George Michael and Robbie Williams.
Oh yeah,
You know, I would never have thought George Michael in Wham could have emerged as the genius songwriter and
yeah,
performer that he became.
absolutely.
Likewise, Robbie Williams, absolute consummate
Yeah.
performer. We actually had him out here for
I remember seeing some of the
New
write-ups.
Year's Eve.
Yeah,
Yeah, New Year's Eve celebration. And he's wonderful. He's so consummate, you know.
well, they
But,
also the Australians hated him in.
I loved him. I loved him.
I think people don't like him now
Dynamite.
because he doesn't need to impress anymore. He's been his authentic self. And I
Yeah,
think when
he's
someone's
great.
been their authentic self, that kind of pisses people off a little bit now, I think, to be fair. No,
Well, I think he's fabulous. I think all those
he's a
years of
good boy.
experience.
And he's done his work and he's done his life work as well. He's been
Yeah.
through the middle and back, most of it at his own doing, probably. But, you know, as a result of what he was thrown into at his age and having to deal with, you know.
He's inspirational. He's inspirational.
He's a really good boy.
And that's a whole other story that that we're watching, and we can take hope from. I mean, nothing irks me more than those plastic celebrities who are so Barbie doll of female or Ken doll, squeaky, perfect, clean. No, nothing ever touches me. Oh, for God's sake, let it. Show a flaw, for God's sake. Be real, because we
I'm not to hide
mortals.
my flaws. I've given up now.
I know, same. I mean, we mortals can't relate.
How did you go from kind of like, obviously music was your thing, it was your release, it was your connection to energy, it was pretty much, I mean, just quickly, just drifting back to, what you're saying about the makeup of the universe, that kind of vision you had was also driven by the music that was kind of being input into that scenario. But you've obviously seen, kind of the documentaries and the YouTube shorts and stuff where music is played next to water. And
Yes.
it shows how the form of the water or the ice crystal, I think,
Yes,
changes
Yes.
because of vibrational energy. So that is absolutely, I mean, you look at kind of hemi-syncing and all these different things that you can do to raise your vibrational levels. I'm pagan witch by tradition, so I'm
Yeah.
kind of quite far away from Christianity, although there's lots of it about it I love, and I use Jesus when I do healing and stuff. I use that energy. However, if you were going to do something kind of more meditational, then you would use something more etheric music. You want something that kind of lowers your vibrational energy. So you would have classical music or hemisync music or, all this kind of stuff. But if you was doing something like a seance or you was actually working with spirit, you need to raise your energy. So heavy rock or heavy metal is something that will really, so you would use different forms of music in order to create the vibrational energy you needed to do your magical work, and so music is, completely underrated with what you
100%.
can do
100%.
on a subconscious etheric esoteric level. We don't realize the effects that what we listen to have on our spirit, our psyche, our emotional body, our wellness and everything. But how did you go from because obviously we just seen a video of you singing, so you were an artist, and you were writing music. When did the change come that you thought, actually, I don't know if I really want to be in front of a mic, I would like to write books? I mean, was it just like a natural progression, or how did it kind of happen?
No, it was a total breakdown, my love. I was married to an American. I was living in America when I recorded Walk in My Footsteps, which they've already seen it. So it's a plea for connection with the earth, as is the last one you'll play. But I turned 40 and I had a massive kind of breakdown, if you will. And this is in America. I kind of hit rock bottom because I was married to a guy who was a total replica of my dad. Gee, you do that, don't you? Yeah. My daughter was from a different relationship. So I had my daughter, thank God. She was kind of like my mum. She was my rock. And I was cleaning houses and I was crying all the time. It was just what I recognize now as an emotional breakdown. And I'm inclined to have I'm high functioning Aspergic, and also which makes me socially a tad awkward at times, just a tad, and also inclined to be a depressive. So it takes a lot for me to drag myself up to a kind of creative functionality. And I realized at that point that it was getting to be a little bit late in the day that was my mindset for me to make it as a singer, which is what I desperately wanted to do. And I met a girl, Kelly, in America, Kelly Thatcher, who's a brilliant writer, still a very close friend. And she took me in hand a bit and said, look, snap out of it. What you've got to do is something different to take your mind off this terrible urgency to succeed. It's the way the world works, isn't it? Compete. So because she was a writer, really because of her, I did a writing course. And it's funny, I kicking and screaming out of one profession and then slowly emerging in another, going, I don't want to admit this, but I love writing. I absolutely love it. Amazing. And I realized then, Jaden, that for me, writing had a big, like I said about the conduit with music, writing had a big open sky. And it was not age, there was no age limitations. Yeah, as far as I could see, there was no sort of cut.
Look at Barbara Cartland. No, look at Barbara Cartland.
Oh, yeah, in her 90s. That's right. And some of the most brilliant writers are like Gabriel Garcia Marquez writing up to their 90s, and thought, well, this is something I could continue to do. And feel good about myself, but mostly get that creative expression out. So it wasn't a happy little, it wasn't a sort of light bulb moment. It was my friend Kelly saying, for God's sake, do something. I'm sick of your depression. I'm sick of you crying. My husband at the time couldn't give a damn. So it was, well, what are you doing? Oh my God, why? And he literally said to me just before I divorced him, what on earth are you doing? It's one thing to try and be a singer in millions, but to be a writer, do you know how many writers there are out there? And I thought, oh my God, no wonder you and I are cut. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. But you know what?
And look at you now.
Yeah, look at me now. Look at me now.
So tell me that you've got quite a few books going out, right? You've got, oh my God, four. Okay, so you've got Miriam, you've got called Catch the Moon Mary.
Yes.
And then you've got
Fields of Grace, Paradise Inferno.
Paradise Inferno, yeah.
And then with the musicals, I should mention Alexander, yeah, that's funny you should choose that one, because that is totally anti-war, totally anti-Trump, and absolutely current. It's amazing. Yeah. And I wrote that a long time ago, more than a decade, but it's so current, so current.
But where can people find that?
Well, they hop onto my YouTube site page as you've done, and you can find some of the work from Alexander.
Is it going to be put into? Is it going to be another musical where people can attend? Do you think?
Oh God, I hope so. I hope so. But it's big, and it will be expensive. And I think it has to. My grandfather, my guide, told me that it will come after the smaller, more boutique musicals, which are less expensive and more manageable, have actually gone on. So the smaller boutique ones that I'm working on right now The Love Song of Reuben Keys, which is a hat tip to T.S. Eliot. And I'm writing that with two people, actually, with Frank Lohman and Ricardo Nunes Fernandes. Yes, he's Portuguese. And they're both absolutely brilliant. And I do love those partnerships. You were talking before we started recording about a writing partnership you had in England. Yeah, where you're writing lyrics and melody. Well, I'm only writing lyrics and book. I'm writing lyrics and book. Yeah. I just sort of step back, which I love, because Ricardo and Frank will come in with the melody, and because Frank is also a lyricist, he will refine the lyrics to fit the music, so I don't have to do it. It's brilliant.
Right. So you throw in your sparks of inspiration and let the boys do the work.
Yeah. Well, I've written the entire musical. I mean, I've done my part, darling. I can sit back. So that's that partnership, and that's an incredible partnership. And
that's what's happening. That's happening at the moment, right?
Yeah, and if we talk again, I'll actually bring one of the songs from that into the chat. There's a hint.
Then we need to chat again. Then absolutely,
we do need to chat again, and I'll bring one. And we might maybe even chat to Frank and Ricardo too.
Yeah, I was going to speak to you about offline afterwards about other people to chat to. That would be really cool.
Yeah. I think they would be brilliant to chat to. So hang on. So there's that. Then there's The Butterfly Collector, which I've written book and lyrics, and Sean O'Boyle, a New York-based, American-based, New York, I think, composer, absolutely brilliant composer. He's writing music to that, and we're about 5 or 6 songs in, so that's going well. And I'm writing another one right now called Gold, which is about what we were talking about earlier, I think even before, about this terrible compulsion to acquire hordes and hordes of money. And I'm writing that with a composer called Bruce Falk, who's also American-based. I think he's New York. With the internet, I'm never sure where anyone is.
It's amazing, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an incredible thing.
We chatted Australia to Mexico, so that's pretty.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be able to do this 20 years ago.
No, we couldn't.
Pretty incredible. It's pretty.
David Bowie kind of saw this coming before he passed away. Yeah. He'd said the internet's going to change the entire world. And the other thing I would say to you is there's nowhere to hide with the internet, because you and I are seeing in real time what's going on in Gaza, in the Ukraine, in Sudan, in Yemen, in America, Britain, Australia. We're seeing in real time. So while these puppeteers who are behind the scenes orchestrating
the tabloids and how things are going to
be, we are talking. We, the hoi polloi, are talking. We are the bourgeoisie. We're talking.
I think now, if people aren't suspicious about what they believe to be true, what they've been taught to be true, then those people are probably never ever gonna be saved. If they still think that everything is as they are told on BBC, CNN, Fox, whatever. I think if no one is questioning anything anymore, I think then you can't even preach.
They're complicit. They're complicit, and they're lazy. And let me tell you something else. They're lazy and frightened, because when my grandfather said to me, "Trust me to take you out of your body and show you something extraordinary," I could have said no. My brother actually said no. There's a little thing. My brother said he was too frightened, and he had the same offer. And he saw him on a different occasion, about a week later, I think. So you have to have the courage to be willing to see the truth, or a truth that is a truth that is different from your
perception of it.
perception of reality, or the reality that you are fed on a daily basis, the manipulated reality, you have to be willing to look at something different. You know, in The Wizard of Oz, when they pulled back the curtain, and it was a little guy with a megaphone. Yeah. We have to be willing.
I saw something on Facebook saying it's not the end of the world, it's the end of our illusion of it.
Yes. Well, it is.
That's really interesting. I'm really interested. You know, obviously, time isn't linear like we think it is. You know, quantum physics. But and I know that, you know, the chalkboard isn't wiped clean on the 31st of December every year, ready to start again. But I do feel there's just something. I do feel that 2025 is going to bring a few things that is really going to test the perception of some people. I really think.
I feel that 2025 is going to be a very transitional year.
Yeah.
Because what I'm seeing, and I will go back to, I totally take your point, by the way, about the non-genderism of power and control, and there are women, you know, there are women and male and female, but those women are slotting into what is a patriarchy that has been centuries old and written in cement, you know, but before we had cement, but written in stone. So what I'm just going to say is, let's just go with that for the moment, for want of a better word, describing the power structure top down as a patriarchal system.
Yeah.
God down, you know, the male god down to the kings and the despots, the leaders, whoever, you know, the designers of the paradigms that we subsist in. I feel it is the last gasp of that type of paradigm. I feel that the patriarchy is now scratching and clawing at the plinth, trying to stay there for all they're worth. They're desperately trying to maintain control, male or female. I don't care who occupies the plinth. I'm just saying patriarchy, as I said, for want of a better word. But the structure of dominance from the elite and the puppeteers down, I think they know. It's finished, because we are too articulate, we are too educated, we are too vocal, and we are talking to each other on a daily basis. And if we look at the trends and the social trends and streams of consciousness, you were mentioning Bluesky earlier, and I must check that out. But also Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok, which they're trying to shut down, even Facebook when it's not kind of slapping down on you, YouTube. You look at the trends. It's amazing how much clawing back is going on. It's amazing how many people are saying, hey, listen, that we don't trust mainstream media anymore. And there's all sorts of people popping up, like Norman Finkelstein, like Caitlin Johnson, like Aaron Misra, who are telling it from their perspective anyway. Whitney Webb. Also, I think.
Do you know of David Icke?
David Icke.
I love David Icke, and I really like. And I've just literally, this last 6 months, the only TV I watch now, apart from Netflix, because I like the occasional movie and series, but the only TV I actually watch now is Gaia TV. Yeah. Bloody love it. All the stuff on there is just has really opened my eyes to a lot of things, you know. Yeah. Our existence and, you know, the possibility.
Well, Ike was a BBC journalist.
Yeah, and was a footballer who became a...
Yeah. And absolutely brilliant guy. And he sort of came undone a bit with the reptilian, talk about reptilian...
I kind of get that on the sense that it kept him probably alive while people
Yeah.
could still put him in the category of insane, he wasn't a threat or a danger.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
If
Yeah, they
what
would have
he's
taken him
saying
out.
is going to be in the Daily Mirror or the Sun and not in the Times and the Telegraph, he's still going to be council estate. He's a loon, mate. He's a loon. So while he's
They
still
don't take any notice.
no,
Yeah.
but the minute
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. When I was in that temple, I saw people like that. I saw people like Reptilian.
Oh.
I saw them, and I thought, well, you know what? I've been reading to another person that would be great for you to talk to would be Yossi Ronan, and he's got a book out called One, which is an experience he had with he thinks extraterrestrial people. But a lot of what we've been talking about, or I've been talking about, it was reflected in the way they communicated with him, which is he was explaining to me, because I contacted him. I said, look, I need to know more about this. They communicated through a language, as he said, very much like music, because it had no actual vocabulary. He said, and he told me, because he's lives in Israel, so his language is Hebrew. His first language is Hebrew. He also speaks beautiful English, but not enough to read my book. But anyway, having said that, no, he left a wonderful review. He said it'd take me forever to read this book, but I love it. I said, yes, nice. But he said that the communication with what he thought were aliens, and they may well be, or they may be nature spirits. I'm open to anything really. But the fact is, it was in a different kind of way, like telepathically, yes, the way I communicated with my grandfather, but he said in a language that I can't even explain, because I understood them and they understood me, but I don't know how we were
beyond words.
Yeah, he said, I said, well, was it in images? Was it in pictures? He said, no, I don't think it was, but I'm really, really not sure. But the point being that where was I going? Yeah, I know where I was going, because Ike was saying the lizard were dangerous. Now, Yossi said that's not quite true. That in actual fact, how we perceive this interdimensional these interdimensional entities, and we all can, by the way, you as a pagan witch would know this better than most. You actually can. But if you're afraid, they appear evil.
Yeah. If
you're not afraid, they're fun and harmless, but more importantly, showing us another way of relating to each other.
Absolutely.
With love.
Yeah. I think the humans have proven time and time again that there is good and bad in all, and obviously there are advanced beings, there's, the angelic beings, celestial beings, etc. But I'm pretty sure that a lot of the other races on different planetary or star systems, I'm probably sure there's some pretty bad ones that want to control and do nasty things, and there's probably some pretty lovely ones who want to help the international.
I think it's probably
interstellar community.
Look, it's always the same demographic mix, isn't it? You're going to get your bad seeds, you're going to get your fabulous saints, you're going to get your people who just are enlightened and advanced and at least giving life a go, and you're going to get those people who are so strict of self-respect that they want to control everybody else. And it's definitely going to be in other systems as well.
Absolutely, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean,
definitely
there are advanced beings as well, but
but they might not all be unilaterally good.
Absolutely, and I'm really quite excited. If you get Gaia TV, do you have Gaia TV?
I'm actually going to Google it after.
I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link when I've finished.
Oh, thank you.
It's lovely. There's a thing on there called Cosmic Disclosure, and it's a bloody Fascinating.
Huge things about it. Yes.
Okay, I'll send
That
you a link
was
to it after the interview.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and if anyone at home wants that link, I'll put it in the I'll put it in the write-up. So Gaia TV.
Let's do an ad for them.
I'm very much at a stage now where I know that what I'm being told is probably a load of bullshit. And while I still don't believe every human with their truth, because at the end of the day, it is their truth, it's their experience, it's their interpretation, it's their image, it's their perception, etc., etc. I'm still very open to everything in order to create my truth, my experience, my perception, my expansion of knowledge and the things I can learn. You know, I'm very lucky. I live in the mountains. There's very little light pollution.
Gorgeous.
And I'm really at the moment, and I'm not sure if it is because of Gaia TV, but in front of me is an oak and pine forest, very, very old. And I live on the side of a mountain looking over villages and mountains. And every night, Venus is behind me.
Yeah.
In front of me, the constellation Orion comes over the top of the forest and literally goes above my head with the Pleiades. And I've been, and I don't know if it was just before I started watching Gaia or just after I started watching Gaia, but I can sit out there with my dogs at night with my hot chocolate, and I'm just almost completely addicted to the constellation Orion at the moment, and I have no idea. But it really
have you read Genius of the Few?
No, not even
by
heard.
Christian O'Brien. I think he wrote it with his wife Joy O'Brien in, I think, 1952, and I may be one of the only 10 people on earth that's bloody well read it.
Okay.
But it is the most extraordinary book, The Genius of the Few by Christian O'Brien, and he is talking about, without entirely realizing it, the Anunnaki, people who came from Orion, the constellation, obviously a planet circling, what have we got? Rigel, Betelgeuse. There's 5 stars in Orion, isn't there?
Yeah, and I can't think.
Rigel, Betelgeuse. Anyway, whatever the others are, and I can't remember off the top of my head. But there is a planet. There are a solar system. There's a planetary system, and we think third rock from the sun is the exoplanet habitable, and he absolutely basically confirms what I've always thought, that when we had a massive kind of massive leap forward in learning and understanding was about 10,000 BC.
Well, the younger
right across,
wasn't it? It was just
across the planet.
Yeah.
And he posits that that's when they arrived, 10,000 BC, and brought with them their technology, their understanding, their learning, their plants, their animals, their systems, their agriculture, their music, their mathematical ability, their knowledge.
It's the same story as that of the Anunnaki as well, right?
It's the same. They're the same. Anunnaki, exactly the same. I think. Pretty sure. Anunnaki is a term he uses. And they've been conflated into gods and angels, but they're not. They're a physical being with good ones and, like you're saying, decent ones, not so good. People like Osiris and Isis, who were a couple, Quetzalcoatl, the Tuatha De Danann, all of whom had enormous integrity about educating the locals.
Yeah.
And teaching them animal husbandry, agrarian culture, music, the things I said, music, astronomy, etc., and making them aware. But the I'm sort of going into the area of conspiracy theories here too. But the Cheops pyramid, the main one, was never used as a term. Not ever, never. And at that time, 23,000 BC, which may have been the first diaspora from that planet, maybe, and 10,000 BC, which certainly equates to the time Atlantis was supposedly destroyed. And there was a diaspora of people from Atlantis who were highly evolved That's one theory. It's conspiracy theory, but, who knows? But the pyramid had the inner chamber, which is huge, by the way, and has two little tunnels that go like that. And when you're lying, I love this, but 10,000 BC, you know how the earth is on a figure eight sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Sure.
So, wobbles on a figure eight. So the sky changes are what you can see. But when you're lying on that slab, circa 10,000 BC, and that tunnel, you can see straight through to Orion, to the constellation of Orion, and the light shines straight in, obviously at night, onto that slab.
Wow.
Make of that what we will. Make of that what we will. I have my own theories.
You need to check out Graham Hancock.
I love Graham Hancock.
Graham is a legend, hated by most.
I love Graham Hancock. Yes, I've read. Forget the name of the book, but the one with the crystal skull. I've read it. I love it. Absolutely love it.
An incredibly
and Christian O'Brien is along those lines.
Okay, I'm going to check that out as well.
But focused absolutely on the Anunnaki and that group of people.
Okay, I'm on that. But let's talk about a little bit more about your works.
Oh, all right.
Because
okay.
we're bigging up all these other authors, but let's big up you for a little bit. Books. Okay. Do you have a favourite of the books that you've written?
Well, I've got these two that are sitting right here, and they are my favourites.
Are they sitting there? Could you show me? I've got no idea you have books next to you.
Yeah.
Up a little bit more.
No idea. You tell me when.
Catch the Moon, Mary, and the other one is, I know it's Miriam, but let's just put it up anyway.
Title, a similar cover.
Miriam, look at that.
You see it?
Amazing. Amazing. Been getting great reviews as well, young lady.
Thank you, darling. Thank you for calling me young. Eternally.
Yeah, absolutely.
This, this one was published by Andrew Spark in Yorkshire.
Okay.
Taken a risk. He's taken a punt on a not all that well-known author. So Andrew, thank you so much. There you go. APS, beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Amazing.
Obviously, I like to bring the other world into my work. So this one, Catch the Moon, Mary. This is a musical genius, which I'd love to be, but I'm not. So Mary is a musical genius, yes, with a troubled childhood. We bring our own
personal experiences of it, yeah.
I guess where she escaped into music. So she becomes, though, she's visited by an angel when she's about 8. And the angel basically says to her, I will protect you from your father, but in exchange, I want sole rights to your music, to do with as I please. Knowing, as you and I have discussed, that music is a very powerful tool for manipulation, intervention, persuasion, escape. He knows how powerful this angel does. And he's sort of, when he makes, and she signs off on that. Yeah, you protect me from my dad. You can have my music. I mean, she's 8. She doesn't know what she's giving away, does she? As the years go by, she becomes an exceptionally brilliant composer, and her instrument is the piano. And by the time she's 21 or 22, sorry, I think I made it, and aware that she has this incredible gift, the angel comes back and says, okay, well, now remember what, like the witch, like the witch, Mr. Maleficent, remember what you promised me. And she goes, oh, yeah, but I was 8. We don't take too much notice of that. Well, if you don't want to remember our deal, everyone around you will start to die. Think about it, and you will be the reason. So this is what starts to happen. The people around her that she loves the most start to die in strange and mysterious ways until such time as she goes, okay, enough, it's yours, do with it what you will. And he says, all right, well, I'm going to seed it with a message that will bring people under my control. So we've got this malevolent
entity,
patriarchy, for want of a better word. But and he just goes to the dark side where all he wants is control and power. He's just so addicted to it. He could have been the devil, but I chose not to make him the devil. So that's that book. Now we get to Miriam. Miriam does sign. I know I've done a similar thing, but Miriam is living in Elizabethan England. And I'll tell you, oh my God, talk about shocking lack of distribution of wealth and absolutely few, no education, no internet, no possible way.
I was probably there on some level, to be fair. So I think I did.
Yeah, well, me too. Undoubtedly, probably died really early of the pox or the
consumption or something. Yeah,
consumption. Yeah, sweating, sickness. Would die of anything, People, the average age in Elizabethan England was 29.
Yeah,
did you know that?
I knew it was like early 30s, that kind of. So yeah,
that's if you made it out of childhood.
Whereas now, darling, 50 is the new 30s.
Oh yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I'm going to milk that for
we have so many advantages, so many. So Miriam falls foul of the matriarch of the house, and she's living. I started it in 1588 because so much was going on in England. In the Armada, the Welsh had just published their own Bible. Yeah, woohoo! There were all sorts of things going on which I've forgotten, but it's in the first chapter. And she's working for the last Marchioness in England, because Elizabeth I was killing all of the anybody that she thought would rise up.
With Mary.
No, Elizabeth.
Oh no, but wasn't she killing everyone that she thought would rise up with Mary, Queen of Scots, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, yes, Catholic, absolutely, yeah. And
I've got to be honest, I've been a bit of a Philippa Gregory fan for a while.
Yeah, she's great, isn't she?
She's bloody great. Yeah, so I'm so looking forward to reading Miriam.
Are you going to read Miriam?
I'm 100% going to read it. 100% going to read it. Yeah.
You'll love it. So if you ask me my favourite at the moment, I have to say Miriam, because there's so much in it. And there's so much of my philosophy seeded through her, because she does get immortality through a Faustian deal. She's sent to the flames. And I mean, it was so easy, by the way, to be sent.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy.
Just your next door neighbour calling you out, you would have been sent to the flames. Yeah, completely.
Yep. Petty treason would get you burnt at the stake. And that's when someone accuses you of poisoning them, and there's no refrigeration. There's so many stupid little rules about food, when you can eat fish, when you can eat meat. Oh man, everyone was getting food poisoning all the time. Food is kept way too long and not refrigerated.
And water was dirty, it wasn't purified, there was nothing, so
No, exactly. Drinking the water. Well, nobody did that. It wasn't safe. Too much. So, she gets sent to the flames, and the devil. I've used the devil in this one because he's the penultimate bad boy with so much. We all have a bit of a crush on him.
And we put so much energy into him over the centuries.
We put so much energy. I mean, as I said in one passage, he's talking to Shakespeare, and Shakespeare says something, and and the devil says, yes, but the thing is, I'm here. He's not. You can pray to him all you like. He'll never answer you. I'm actually here.
I'm doing my work.
Yeah, I'm doing my work. I'm doing what he should be doing.
I've got my clients. Everything's good.
I've got my client list. I've got my email list. I've got the ones that are very vulnerable. So, so bring some Marlowe, Shakespeare, and then some interesting characters that were living at the time. And then when she goes to France, bringing Louis the 15th, 14th, no, tag in Louis the 14th into Louis the 15th, and the people around him, Madame Pompadour, Du Barry, so what's her name, Du Barry, Madame Du Barry. Anyway, I know when I wrote it, but there was so much, and then the peasants did rise up, as you know, in France, and they overturned the system, you know, and to this day, it's a socialist democracy in France. So
maybe we've got that to again, coming full circle. Okay, so Miriam, love it. And where can people find your books?
Okay, well, look, they're on most of the virtual platforms, Amazon, Kobo, Waterstones, but of course this one is APS. So Andrew has got his own site, but I don't think you can buy it through the site. I think you have to buy it through Amazon and Kobo, Barnes.
What about through your website? Can they get it through there?
No.
No.
I haven't monetized my website at all.
Okay.
I couldn't be bothered. I don't know how to. It would be a nightmare.
Is it important? But long as people, but they can find it on Amazon and basically that kind of platform where to order it from. Yeah.
Yeah. wendyannewaters, and if they go to Goodreads has got my page. All of my books are available through. They've got a little link underneath on Goodreads which has got about 6 or 7 places where you can buy my books. And you'll find out when you do your children's book as well.
Yes.
The Goodreads is a great service, I tell you, because they will keep you very current. And yeah, there is a link.
We're going to talk about that. Absolutely. I've got to get my finger out sorted, but we're going to.
Okay.
So people at home, it's the beginning of 2025. What better time to start a bloody good read than now, quite frankly? Start the year as you mean to go on, and I'm sure. Any more books planned?
Well, I've got 3 musicals on the go.
Yeah, but that's all. Come on. Any more books?
That's all. You're right. No, what am I talking about? Of course.
God, what, you're part-time now?
Yes, I'm just being lazy. I'll do another 4 years research. I'm being ridiculous.
So maybe by 2030, another book on the list.
Maybe by 2027.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Well, but that gives them time to read the existing books, right? Anyway.
Yes, exactly.
And by that time, the musicals will be out, and then they're all caught up with Wendy Waters, and then it's moving on to perfect.
Yeah.
Wendy, thank you a billion times over for being on my show, for your time and for your talent, and and more so for your time, because it was early morning in Australia. So I do appreciate you coming to chat.
I cannot thank you enough, and another shout out to our mutual beautiful friend Lauren Lovejoy, who put me in touch with you, and you in touch with me. Thank you, my lovely, and thank you so much, Jaden. You're an absolute joy.
We'll catch up. We'll catch up offline and chat conspiracy theories a little bit more.
Absolutely. Sure. And by then you might have read The Genius of the Few and One by Yossi Rosen.
You need to send these to me via Facebook if you can, because
I'll do that. I'll hook you up, actually.
Yeah,
I'll hook you up. Okay.
Wendy Waters, much success. In fact, all the success in this planetary system and other ones too. How amazing would that be if it does prove that there are people like the Pleiades and Orion? I wonder if they're checking out your books.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to tag Orion and Pleiades in this chat, just in case they're kind of checking out what's going on in the interweb. Who knows?
Exactly.
Wonderful. My lovely, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Definitely be in touch again soon. You take good care of yourself.
Okay. Bye.
See you next time. Bye-bye. How absolutely wonderful is Wendy, and oh my God, I think it's probably the longest show I've done so far, and we probably could have talked for hours and hours more, but it was getting dark here and I had to feed my dogs. But no doubt you'll definitely hear from Wendy again soon. In fact, probably sooner than you think, because starting very soon is a new series here on JCTV called Book Read, where you are going to hear books read by their amazing authors and a little bit of background history about the book too. And then you have 1 month to ask questions about that book. And a month later, we do a Q&A, a question and answer session with that same author answering your questions. So people at home, please, 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 when you tune in, please write down in the comment sections of the book read the questions that you want the author to answer. I'm very excited about this show and I hope you are too. And I hope you really get involved. That would be wonderful. Okay, I'm about to love you and leave you. I'm going to leave you with another song by Wendy. It's called One Dance on the Earth. I hope you come back and see me again next Sunday for another wonderful special guest. I hope you check out the past shows when you've got a bit of time. I hope you subscribe. I hope you comment. I hope you like. I hope you share it with all your friends and your family and ask them to do the same. You can also find me on my social media platforms as well, and my music and download platforms too. You take care. I'm sending you the biggest hugs for a beautiful new week. Stay beautiful, and I'll catch you next Sunday on the Jaden Show. Take care. Bye-bye.
And I would live in your eyes again, and in your bed I would lie, and I would treasure each kiss you gave me, and in your arms I would gladly die, and in your arms I would gladly die. and I would live in your eyes again, and in your bed I would lie, and I would treasure each kiss you gave me, and in your arms I would gladly die. One chance on the earth, one dance upon the earth. One chance on the earth, one dance upon the earth. We have got just one chance on the earth, one dance upon the earth. One chance on the earth, one dance upon the earth. Take this chance with me. Do this dance with me. Take this chance with me. Do this dance with me. And I would live in your eyes again, and I would lay in your arms again, and I would live in your eyes again, and I would lay in your arms again.